Cloud Big Data, a cloud hybrid group company. Survival of the fittest. To survive, vendor consolidation can be successfully achieved by analyzing the following things. The organizational values and its mission along with its strategic priorities has to be considered. The functional areas has to be determined by categorizing roles and competencies and selecting the staffing vendor to help in effective talent acquisition. Selecting the vendor must be performance-driven, understanding the vendor's strategies which in turn must meet the organizational needs. Picking the right vendor who is proactive and must be knowledgeable in providing the dedicated resources to the organization. Importantly, the vendor must be ensured and service consistency and geographic coverage. Evaluating the vendors with the above criteria to enable the best vendors to deliver the service that you require. The companies have to differentiate between sourcing and recruiting paradigms, as the source-centric strategic vendors has to submit high volumes of candidates with an average ratio of 115 or 120 depending on the quality placements. Whereas, the recruiting-centric strategic vendors get the quality in recruiting candidatures. Though this approach is time-taking but saves time and money. Considering the vendor's perspective is like the organizations has to motivate the vendors to achieve the true partnerships, and follow up with feedbacks and creative incentives. The modern IT staffing buyer. Examining the modern IT staffing buyer and provider relationship, human resources, HR, procurement and vendor management organizations are increasingly involved in IT staffing vendor management, and the complexity increases when more parties involve in staffing vendor management. Most IT staffing buyers depend on one or more providers. The right candidature depends on times and prices and variety of factors, including the hiring manager's work style, the organization's IT culture, project deadlines and the market values for certain skill sets to conduct sourcing, screening and hiring activities. Many organizations consider the vendors by through request of proposal which they feel to be worthy in consideration. The vendor's diligence can be evaluated through their requisition performance by understanding the skill sets in each and every location. The organization set clear expectations by giving chance in earning the business competence. The attributes that help in standardizing the business competencies are: a candidate submissions are standardized, that candidates are not associated to the vendors that submit the candidatures, all vendors receive the same information on every open requirement, and all vendors are held to the same performance, that is, scorecard targets. Buyer: if we identify vendor touchpoints in terms of performance objectives for each interaction and set realistic targets, there may be a conflict in speed and price versus candidate quality. Provider: working with buyers in identifying customer touchpoints and understand performance objectives to achieve the targets at each interaction. At the same time, help to educate buyers about the vendor behaviors, what they look for. Cloud Big Data, a cloud hybrid group company. www.cloudbig.com